It's Song Talk Radio.
Welcome to Song Talk Radio and happy 2024 to our listeners.
Oh, so long.
This is the show with songwriters talking to other songwriters about the craft of songwriting. Still, we share tips, tools, and techniques, and together we'll become better at writing songs. I'm your host, Neel Modi, and with me, my co-host, Phil Emery. Happy New Year, Phil. How are you?
Happy New Year, Neel. Gee, I haven't seen you all year.
So we met the other day, didn't we, over Zoom?
Well, you don't tell people how the sausage is made.
No.
Don't look behind the content. Don't look behind the curtain.
Behind the curtain, yeah.
Yes. Or look behind the content.
Yes. Or go to songtalk.ca and see the content.
Yes, you can. Yeah. Indeed.
There's lots of content there. Are you kidding? Yeah. 10 years worth.
Yes. So, yeah. Yes, that's right. We're going to be going into our 10th year.
Yes, we are. We are already in our 10th year.
That's right.
Yeah. And while you're there on the website, you can send your comments and questions to at Song Talk Radio on Facebook or Instagram, or feedback at songtalk.ca for the email. We'll share your thoughts on the show. Please visit songtalk.ca to see show posts for this episode and to find links to resources we mentioned and all the great stuff for every episode.
Yes.
Tonight, Phil and I are just doing a little catch-up, and we're going to talk about our musical activities over the holidays, new discoveries, miracles, and give a little sneak preview of our 2024 Songwriting Challenge. So stay tuned for that. Why don't you kick off the festivities, Phil, with your holiday news?
Well, this was not really songwriting related, but I thought it was sort of an interesting story. We have new neighbors who've moved in next door, and they are from the Congo.
Oh.
And a refugee family of a couple, and there's 7 kids.
Wow.
And so it's been really fun. They moved in just before Halloween, and we sort of introduced them to Halloween, which I realize now is a very bizarre custom.
No kidding, eh? Yeah.
They were just kind of going, so you go up to these strangers' house and they give you candy. Why?
Yeah.
It was very odd. But so Heather and I were thinking, well, maybe we should, invite them over for Christmas dinner. But the problem is we kind of looked at, what we had, and we actually don't have enough chairs and, plates and all that. So we thought, well, let's invite them over in the afternoon for, some snacks and a cup of eggnog, something kind of light.
Yeah.
So we had a Christmas party a couple weeks before Christmas Day for our street, which is going quite well. And this is just another indication that if you want to create a community, sometimes you're the one who has to start it. So we're starting to turn our street into this kind of fun little place. And anyway, so our neighbor and his wife came over for Christmas drinks. They're wonderful people, but his wife only speaks French.
Oh, wow.
They actually speak primarily French. So the Canadian government, had them move to Newfoundland because, when most people speak French, that's where you want to be.
Okay.
But apart from that, so his English is quite good, but his wife doesn't really speak any English at all. But thankfully, Heather does.
Right.
So she was having a little conversation, and kind of said, "What do you do for Christmas?" Because they have a very different culture and so on. And then we mentioned that we wanted to have them come over for a snack on Christmas afternoon. And then at Christmas Eve, we thought, well, maybe we should find out what time they want to come over for, a cup of eggnog on Christmas Day. And this was at about 9 o'clock. And so she sends a text to the husband, and the husband replies with saying, Heather also mentioned that we didn't want to be imposing. So perhaps they were just being polite. Like maybe they want to just spend time with their family at Christmas. Maybe, they're meeting with other people from the church. We don't really know. So we said, but if you don't want to come, if you can't make it, that's perfectly fine. Have no problems. if you don't want to come by. And they replied with, "Oh no, we're very excited. The kids can't wait.
Oh,
Wait, please make potatoes, and rice and beans."
wow.
So they were under the impression that they were coming over for Christmas dinner.
Yes.
And this was the first year that we don't have a huge refrigerator. So we've always had, if we got a big turkey, we had to store it at our neighbor's place and all that. So this time we just got a small turkey that would fit in our fridge.
Mm-hmm.
So at 9 o'clock on Christmas Eve in St. John's, when basically everything is closed, we find out that we have 9 people coming over for Christmas dinner, and we don't have enough chairs, and we certainly don't have enough food. So we start freaking out, trying to figure out what we were going to do. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't listen to this podcast because we don't really want to let him know what happened. So we made some calls to some people, in the city, and they brought over potatoes and carrots.
Oh.
And we had the family bring over some chairs because they didn't have enough chairs.
Right.
And we managed to put together a Christmas dinner for 11 people, even though we thought it was just going to be us two.
Wow.
At 8:30 on Christmas Eve. So we had to scramble a bit and try, get and dig some chicken out from our freezer and stuff like that. But it was kind of fun, and the kids were wonderful. They actually sat around playing the piano and singing Christmas carols. It was quite
cool.
wonderful. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was very unusual, and we figured out what happened was in Heather's very fine French, really. She was asking the wife, "What do you make for Christmas?"
Yeah.
And I think what she heard was, "What can we make you?
What can we make for you?" Yeah.
For you Christmas." So that was.
Right.
So Christmas Day was actually kind of a little bit hectic, but we managed to pull it off, and it was a lot of fun.
That's amazing.
Well, because the kids had never experienced Christmas crackers, which of course is a very British and Canadian thing. I don't think it's done actually in the U.S.
Yeah, I admit I didn't know about it till I got together with Emma, and like her family's half from England, so it was very much a thing for them.
Right.
So and the first time I was like, Christmas crackers, like what? You put cheese on them and eat them? Like what? What's so special about Christmas crackers?
A very strange custom, but the kids were kind of fun with that, and they thought it was really cool. They weren't sure about our food, but it was a fine Christmas holiday. How about yourself, Neel? Did you have a fun and interesting Christmas?
It was very, very low key and chill. We literally just spent it with family and not much family at that because my in-laws are overseas in India still, and we saw my parents after they got back from India a few days before Christmas, and then Christmas proper we just spent with my brother-in-law and our niece. And it was just a nice sort of quiet, chill time.
That sounds quite wonderful. Did you buy yourself any musical Christmas gifts?
Well, like I was just saying before we went online, I bought a new Zoom recorder.
Nice.
Which was a fun little thing. I had a Zoom recorder that lasted me about 10 years, and it's not really going on the fritz, but it's starting to go on the fritz. Switches and things like that, which I'm fully aware I can probably get fixed. But just thought I'd treat myself over the holidays and picked up a new one that has better microphones and has XLR inputs, where my other one never had XLR inputs.
Very nice.
Still a 4-channel one, but sometimes I go and help singer-songwriters in the city and record their shows for them, and it's nice to be able to pull a line from the mixing board in the venue and get a direct line to mix in with the live room sound in post. And because it's 4 channels, it's all discrete, separate recordings, so you can blend it in as you like in post.
Very nice.
And, so it's a handy little thing to have. And in fact, I was using my old Zoom recorder, and I'm using my new one for this podcast every time. So this is my go-to microphone for meetings and things like that as well. So it's a pretty handy thing.
That's great. And Zoom, those Zoom recorders are fantastic for recording bands
Yeah,
because you can really set the gain down low. And often, if your bands are loud,
yeah.
which if you're practicing, you shouldn't be practicing loud, but if you happen to, they handle that volume very well. So
Yeah.
well worth
Well,
them.
you're talking to a drummer. You can't tell a drummer to not be loud.
That's true.
It's a paradox that'll destroy the universe.
That is your job. Yeah.
Yeah. I also play piano too. I just can't play drums piano.
Doesn't have,
You know
well,
what I mean?
you could play drums with your feet and then have a keyboard and just play it with one hand. I've seen it
Try to
done.
just try to make a joke. The dynamics in sheet music is piano, mezzo piano, mezzo
Uh,
forte. Saying I can't play drums piano.
I see. That's what's known as a deep cut, I think.
Deep cut. It's a musical joke. Come on. I should put it with Italian accent. You don't have drums piano. Yeah.
Piano.
Yeah. Okie dokie. All right. That's amazing. And okay. So in other news, we've so in the band I'm in Base Shelter, we're finally so I'm going to talk about this for like years on the podcast every now and again. We're finally getting the ball rolling on some of these recording projects, and I've kind of just naturally dropped into de facto producer. Just wasn't even declared that way. I was just like, yeah. I was trying to think about how we're gonna do these things, and just before the holidays and a little bit over the holidays as well, I started doing these. I just started setting up templates for each song, right? And I started this exercise where, like, I mean, this is a guitar band and I don't play guitar, right? So I just like loaded up the chord sheet that we have for one of the songs, played in piano chords. I could just block chords to a metronome, and set up the thing, and set up a couple of drum loops, and there we have a structure to record to, right? All the tracks I'm recording are strictly demos. They're going to be eliminated at the end of the day, but at least it's a structure and a thing to go to. And then I thought to myself, on the first song that I did, I thought to myself, well, just as an exercise for myself, because I'm always trying to work on, developing my ear. And let me just listen to one of the rehearsal recordings, one of the concert recordings we had, and see if I can figure out Addie's melody, his vocal melody, right? So it's just like I pop the melody in there. So to give anybody who's playing on the track when Tom is recording his bass, or I'm even recording live drums or whatever, it's nice to have the vocals in there, or at least a melody in there to know where you are in the song and give it some feeling, right? And so I listened to the recording and played around on my keyboard and figured out the melody, and I played in the melody in MIDI. And then I thought, well, I've got that virtual singing software. Why don't I just throw one of these virtual singers on it? I've got the MIDI. It's like literally two clicks later, and I can just throw one of these voices on it. And I'm like, okay, this sounds kind of cool, actually. And then I sent the demo to the guys, and Addy was actually like very grateful, because he was like, this actually gives me like a really solid melody to follow. Right, because he can be a little experimental when we're playing live, and melodies kind of drift a little bit that way. But this game actually gave him like a solid rigid thing to be like, this is the way the melody should go. And it's like, okay, this is pretty cool. So I've done that for 3 demos already for a recording project. I'm just going to continue to do that. And sometimes I use a virtual guitarist as well to sort of put in a guitar riff.
Oh, that's really cool.
Simple strumming, but I think and some of the songs are fixed tempo, and some of the songs are drifting tempo, and it's just a matter of evaluating each one and sort of figuring out what might be best, and kind of
very fun
going with that thing. So the next steps are, I'm going to get together with our old partner in crime on the podcast, Don Thompson, has a great home studio, and I'm going to be probably going over to his studio to record live drums, and
oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
So after you do the drums, do you still have to do overdubs for all the parts, or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, like I said, like the things I'm putting in, MIDI drum loops and piano, just chords, or virtual guitar strumming chords, all that's gonna go away. At the end of the day, it's just a template, it's just a structure for us to record to. And once Tom gets his bass in there, get my drums in there, then we got a good foundation. I may even ask Tom to join me for the drum sessions, just so we can play together. It might be nicer.
That's great, because also it gets it done.
That's the other thing too.
Yeah. Because
it's been a sticking point for us. Well,
that is the biggest problem with having a recording studio in your home. Mm-hmm. Is that you work on stuff and then you go, and then you work on something else, or you get distracted. Whereas in the old days, when we'd go into a studio for a weekend, all you did for those 2 days was just record because that's all you could afford, and you often would try to get some kind of a mix, a final mix at the end of the second day at like 2 a.m. It was a tough go, but you actually got something done.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Yeah.
And I'm even talking to the guys about like we need to start thinking of our rehearsal sessions as pre-production sessions, right? Like really figure out every little bits of these songs and how the guitar parts are going to go and how every single note is going to work inside them, and then record those little bits so that we have them for reference. And then when we do get into my studio or Don's studio or wherever we're going to be doing the final recording, we know exactly what we're doing, and you just blast through it and you're good.
Are you going to try to track all the songs before you do any final mix, or are you going to try to get one done?
Probably. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know yet. I don't even know if I want to do the mixing. I may hand the mixing over to Tom or something. I don't know, or somebody else.
Sometimes that can be the wise move, because otherwise you get caught up in it and get distracted by things that like someone who's fresh to it wouldn't.
Yeah. So it's a little too close, right?
Yeah, and you've been listening to that stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I know those songs inside and out now, so it's like
that'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be a good little project, and hopefully sometime this year we'll manage to have some stuff on the streams.
Yeah, as for me, I've just been trying to finish things off. This is I don't really do resolutions, but something that people have been saying for the last couple of years is coming up with a theme. So what is the theme of your year going to be?
Oh, yeah.
And so I think my year is trying to finish off projects. I have no end of creative ideas, and for all sorts of things like writing and theater and music. That's not the problem. The problem is actually finishing them. So that's my goal, is to finish stuff off, and I have finished things off, and I've actually done a couple of things I've wanted to do. I've remixed some old songs that I did back in the early 2000s. Now that I feel I know a little bit more about mixing, and so I'm trying to get that done. That's going to be the big thing, and trying to because last with the move and just getting used to the new house and the new city, it's been I haven't done as much as I necessarily would like to, so I'm hoping to kind of do more things in the next year. So that's my theme. I don't know if you think of the new years in terms of themes, Neel?
Not really. Just kind of maybe set some goals on a smaller scale than the year and sort of chip away at those things. I mean, because I figure if things are going to change 6 months down the road anyway, priorities,
that's true as well.
whatever. So it's like, I don't know. Resolutions. Yeah, it's sort of with resolutions. Just if you're gonna resolve to do something, just do it. Why wait for January?
Yeah, and for me, January's never felt like a new year. For me, September is always the new year.
Yeah, September is very much a restart for a lot of things. So
at least for me it is. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Fair enough. Cool. Yeah, I remember you sent me a couple of your revised mixes, some of your older songs the other day.
Yeah, thank you for listening to that, because sometimes you're not sure of what you hear, because you're going, I think it sounds okay, but I thought it might be a bit harsh, but you were saying it was okay. So
yeah, it sounded great to me. It was very well balanced and stuff. The big challenge for me in terms of production right now is the live drums thing.
Oh, right.
Because I'm kind of working with Don. He's doing most of the tech stuff, but like I was actually at his studio a couple of weeks ago, and he reset up his drum kit in a much simpler fashion with fewer mics. He used to have like 17 mics on this thing, and he's got like 4. And and we're kind of working together, although he's doing most of the heavy lifting as far as mic placement and all that sort of stuff. But but it's a little bit of tweaking about getting the right sound, and then mixing live drums. Wow, it's a whole other bag of.
It is really.
It's not as easy as one of those plugins where everything sounds perfect right out of the gate.
Yeah, it really is. There's a lot of futzing and you can go so deep. And
in a lot of ways, I'm glad he's going with like 4 mic setup as opposed to 17, because that just gets a little unwieldy.
Well, there are classic tunes that we all love were recorded with 1 or 4 mics on the drum, and that's just fine. So back in the 90s, I was working with this. There's a lot of people in the music industry who are just bat crap crazy. And this one guy wanted us to do recording the drums 1 pass at a time.
So you just do this.
Yes, you just do the bass drum, then you just do the snare, and then you just do the hi-hat, because it all had to be, separation was a big thing, because in the 80s, everything had to be super clean and super dead because of that. And it did not come out well, and it did not sound good. And it was just, took forever, and I was going like, what's great? Playing the drums.
Oh my God.
So that's the exact opposite, and you don't want to do that.
No, good Lord. Like, I'll punch in some stuff. I'll, be recording with Don, and I'll be like, I kind of flubbed that fill, or I can do that fill better.
Yeah.
Let's just delete the whole set. It's not just the snares, not just whatever. Just let me play through it again. And then you just punch in the whole thing. But that's that whoever you work with there had no concept of what drumming means. That's all.
Yeah, it was an odd time. There was a lot of hairspray. There was a lot of hair gel. We all had earrings.
Drugs involved.
No, there wasn't actually. We were all very clean, but yeah, there was lots of. I had very tall hair back then, so as was the style of my people.
Yeah. Like the pandemic.
Yes, indeed.
Jeez. Yeah. Yeah, and you discovered something, some new toy from Apple that's coming out, eh? Or has it come out already?
I thought we talk about something that's kind of interesting for anyone who creates media or stuff that we want people to buy, and that's Apple's new Vision Pro immersive goggles, I guess, what you'd call them. So it's version 1, so it's very expensive. It retails at $3,499 US, which is 4,700 and change Canadian.
Yeah.
Which seems like a lot, but back in the day, computers were often like my first Mac was $3,000. So back in the day, things were more expensive. It's supposed to be an immersive computing experience, and it's these goggles, and you can use your hand gestures to move things on the screen. And I don't know what to think about it. When I remember seeing the original iPhone when it first came out, and I knew Steve Jobs had hit it out of the park. I knew it was going to be a massive success. This I just don't get. I can't. They're saying that people should be able to, that people are going to want to do spreadsheets and their day-to-day work on it, but I wouldn't want to wear goggles for 8 or 9 hours a day. And then I was thinking, well, it might be fun to experience, very immersive concerts. But as far as I know, I think it's only visual. So I think if you wanted to get immersive audio, you would have to add headphones to it. I don't know. Neel, have you had a chance to look at it?
No, I took a quick look at it. I didn't really take a deep look at it. And most of the stuff I saw was productivity stuff. And like you, it was really, you want to do a spreadsheet for 9 hours wearing this thing? because to be honest, my first thought when I saw that was like I'm getting older, my eyesight is starting to go a little bit, right? And one of the things an optometrist told me is that if you know, like if you're staring at your monitor for too long, like every 20 minutes or whatever it is, you should actually look away. Refocus your eyes on something further away. Do a little bit of blinking, like
Yes.
deliberate blinking, and then for a minute or whatever, and then come back to your screen. So the whole conception of putting these goggles on and focusing on that one thing visually for hours upon hours, it seems a little much.
Well, not only that, but you have to get it fit. You have to actually have this thing fitted to you, as far as I understand.
Oh, so you can't even share it with anybody.
Yeah, well, if you have to wear glasses, or well, probably is okay with contacts, but if you have to wear glasses, you actually have to buy lenses in your prescription for this as well.
Oh,
So
geez, add another $1,000 to that.
yeah, so it just seems really unwieldy. I mean, there was every now and then, like 3D TV comes back, and they try to make
Yeah,
3D TV a thing. And it
yeah.
was, and they sold a bunch of these things. I remember going, well, this is going to be awkward because it's hard to experience something like that with lots of different people.
Mhm.
And, if you have a beautiful TV, you can watch a movie with your family in front of this
Mhm.
beautiful TV. But this is an individual experience,
Yeah.
which might be okay for being on a plane, but it's,
Mhm.
I can't imagine having this on my head. I
It's,
mean, there was Facebook had um, I think a 3D goggle thing, and I know Google had.
yeah, Google had 3D glass or something at some point, didn't they? I don't
Yeah,
know what happened to that.
well, I think they all kind of die. It's
Mm.
because it's like those 3D. It's like the 3D television sets. Having to wear glasses to experience something is just kind of a pain
Mm.
for, maybe if you go into a theater, it's one thing because you're there for a specific purpose. But if you're watching something with your home at home and you're going to get up and get some snacks or
Yeah.
answer the door or something, like it just doesn't seem to make sense. So I don't understand what this thing is for, and it's possible that we may not know what it's
Mm.
for another 4 or 5 years.
Mm.
Um, Now I know people who I follow who have had some experience of these things have not completely poo-pooed it.
Mm.
So I guess, but what's really weird is they have the front of the goggles. It's a little sort of image basically of your eyes. So it takes it has a camera that takes a picture of your eyes. So people from out, people looking at you can sort of see your eyes.
Really?
Yes, which
That sounds creepy as hell.
no, it's creepy. I would actually prefer if you could put like googly eyes, the
Yeah, yeah,
plastic
yeah.
googly eyes. That would be cool.
That would be funny. Yeah, yeah.
So
Oh
I
my
think that's
God.
because I think it's I just can't imagine what this would be for. I mean, maybe watching a movie, but I can't see doing a lot of work.
Mm.
It's really not my kind of work because
Yeah, yeah.
I'm doing stuff on paper. I'm jotting things down. I'm going between browsers. I'm,
Yeah. Well,
having.
but you said a few minutes ago, but like something like a music concert. Like imagine, you're doing you're broadcasting your concert on Facebook or YouTube or something like that live, and someone's got these goggles, and they
Yes.
put them on, and they can feel so much more like they're in the venue.
Now that would be something, but you have to also add headphones to it.
Yes, you do need the sound. Yeah.
So, which the whole thing seems really unwieldy, and it kind of, I mean, the goggles themselves kind of look like ski goggles, and I don't know. They said they're only going to make 80,000 of them, and they think they're going to sell out.
They pay very
Um,
well.
yeah,
And it's not a computing system in and of itself. You still need to hook it up to a MacBook or to a iPhone or something. No.
Well, I know it has its own OS.
Okay.
No, I think it actually is a computer in and of itself.
Okay. So you could take that your set by itself to your office or Starbucks
Yeah,
and connect to the Wi-Fi and go.
I believe so. And each eye has like a 4K display
Wow.
in front of it. It's really odd. Even going on the Apple Vision Pro website, and they have a bunch of people doing stuff with it and what it would look like, and it doesn't seem like a pleasant experience to me. But maybe I I don't get it. Oh yes, and also it has a battery pack and it only lasts 2.5 hours.
Oh,
So you
so
can
you're not
only
gonna
watch a movie or a long
see,
movie.
not Lord of the Rings,
No,
but you and then not one of the new Avenger films or whatever, or forget Oppenheimer.
no.
But yeah, it's yeah, it remains to be seen. But yeah, 2.5 hours, you're not gonna unless you can plug it in while you're using it.
I don't think you can.
So you're not gonna
I could be
spend eight
wrong,
hours.
but
You're not gonna do spreadsheets for 8 hours then on that.
yeah, I understand this is like a very probably almost like a beta version
Mhm.
of the technology, and good on them for trying something. I think um, this risky and this far looking, but
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I can't. I don't think. Well, I wouldn't spend 3,400. I don't know if I'd spend $3,400 on a guitar, frankly. But yeah, I don't. It doesn't seem like I would something I would enjoy, and I don't think our society needs more isolation. We don't need
Well,
more
there's
people
that.
who
Yeah,
we don't need more people who are not talking to each other. That's kind of the whole problem with everything. So
yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, I would try it. I don't think I'd buy it, but
Go to the Apple Store and try it out.
well, I imagine you probably can, but I mean, you'd probably have to book a session,
You
and
probably would.
and because they'd have to teach you how to use it. It's not like using a computer because you move things using your like hand gestures,
Like Minority Report.
kind of like that, but not quite as sort of ape-like arms at the front. So. But for people who create entertainment and music, it is another platform for us to think about.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Could be something interesting if it's exploited in
So,
that way.
Neel, what platforms do you use to put out your music? You use a few of them, don't you?
Like to distribute
Yeah.
music. Lately I've been favoring Bandcamp. If I finish a song, I'll throw it on my Bandcamp.
Okay.
That seems to be the go-to, mostly because I ran out of room on my SoundCloud.
Okay.
SoundCloud kept bugging me to buy space and get the pro account. I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
And so then I started uploading to Bandcamp, which in some ways it feels kind of more official. I still use my SoundCloud for like if I'm just uploading a sketch or something like that.
Interesting. Okay.
But when it came to my EP that I did a couple years ago, 4 years ago at this point, 2020, and there I had discovered a free distribution service called RootNote,
Oh.
which distributed to all the stores: Spotify, Amazon, Apple, YouTube Music, a whole bunch of other ones, Stitcher, and all those guys. And the only caveat was that it was free, but they would take 15% of any royalties that they collected.
Okay.
And it did take them, I think, a little bit longer. Like it took almost 2 weeks to get everything out into stores.
Okay.
Whereas some of the other ones like CD Baby and DistroKid and everything gets it up within days, I guess.
Right.
Which is the nice thing about Bandcamp when you think about it. You pop it up there, it's there. That's it. There's
Yeah,
no
that's
waiting.
true.
There's literally no waiting. Lyrics, downloads, whatever. It's
And
all there,
Bandcamp's
right?
free, right?
And Bandcamp's free.
Okay.
Bandcamp's free. They take a cut if someone buys your track,
Yeah.
right? That's fine.
That's fine. Yeah.
And the only thing with Root Note too is they didn't give, like, I know what people who do DistroKid or whatever, they give them like a landing page, like there's a link tree or whatever, link to whatever
Oh,
thing.
right.
And when the artist shares their release on social media or whatever, they just send everyone to that web page, because you don't know what streaming service everyone's listening on, so it gives you the links to every single store,
right,
and then
right.
you pick Spotify, you pick Apple, you pick whichever one you want,
Right.
and then it takes to their EP or their album on that service, right? So that landing page, RootNote does not provide that, right? But I'm like, I have my own website, I'll just make my own landing page.
Yeah, right.
Right, and I did, so done. So that was easy. So it may not be for everyone, but it certainly worked for me.
And that was called Rootkit?
Root Note.
Root Note. Okay.
Yeah. We'll put a link in the description. It's a good little service. It's pretty easy to use.
Yeah.
There were a couple of technical things, but I suppose that's the case with every service. Like, it never goes perfectly smoothly.
And with Bandcamp, do they have any tools to like master or normalize your tracks if you upload them, or do you have to kind of master them some way?
I don't think so, but everyone seems to be doing that now, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do. I know BandLab, the people that create Cakewalk, my DAW of choice, they have an online mastering thing.
Oh, okay.
I tried it on one track that I was having a little of trouble mastering, and I didn't like what they did.
Okay.
It was very instructive, though, that it kind of revealed to me that mastering is just as creative and subjective a process as everything else seems to be. Yeah. Right? There's no right or wrong way, and it was a very, very dynamic song. The verses were really, really quiet, and the chorus was quite loud.
Oh, right.
And it was just a piano vocal thing, right? But it was a high contrast, and I wanted to reduce that dynamic a little bit, but not too much. And of course, their master went and pumped up the verses super loud, so they were almost as loud as the chorus. And it's like, like when I finally arrived at my master for that song, I think I ended up at -14 LUFS.
Right.
Theirs ended up at -10. Quite a difference.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? So, but there's, you Google free online mastering. Good Lord.
Right.
There's so many people out there doing that now.
Yeah, and I imagine there's some tools that also will do a probably passable job.
Yeah. I think it depends on what you're sending them. If you send them a pretty conventional pop rock track, you probably do just fine.
Yeah.
Right? Send them something a little bit unusual, that's when you're going to have a little bit of a problem. And that was the only track I had problem mastering. The rest of them, anything else I was doing, would do an electro pop thing. It was like, it's pretty easy. But that one gave me a bit of a headache because I wasn't sure where to.
Right.
Because you literally have control over that dynamic difference. How loud do I want the chorus to pop out? How do I want to have it still have emotional impact without it being too in your face? Right. All this sorts of questions. And how loud is too loud, and all that stuff.
Yeah, that is true. Have you noticed? Because you're on a couple of other services too, aren't you?
No.
Okay.
No, I used to be on. Oh, shoot, what was that one? I can't remember what it was called now. There was a couple of other ones I used to use years ago. I'll put my stuff on my YouTube channel too, just for the hell of it.
That's true. Do you notice do you notice SoundCloud or Bandcamp give you more plays?
No, but I do have a friend of mine from the meetup who's actually going to be a guest on our show in a couple of weeks. He's managed to build quite the following on SoundCloud. Like his tracks that he uploads there, he gets hundreds of plays and lots of comments and stuff, which is kind of cool. He gets the comments in real time on the track and stuff. So SoundCloud is pretty cool for that. And it's like, dude, how'd you, I think I may have even asked him that at some point. He's like, I just spend a lot of time on there. You got to comment on other people's. You got to get them to follow you back. You got to spend the time and make it happen, right? So if you're really invested,
Yeah.
You'll get the payback on it.
I have to admit,
Bandcamp is weird because I feel like only artists know about it. Who was it? Who was it? Was it Carmen Toth who was on a show last year who was complaining about, she had to tell her family members how to download on, and you can't do it. Like, what? I still don't know why you do it on a phone. You get a Bandcamp link on your phone. What do you download it to your phone? I don't know how it quite works.
I don't know if people download things on their phone or if they just listen to it online. I think most people just stream now.
Yeah. And Bandcamp isn't really built to do that. They do have the Bandcamp app, I guess, that you can, if you do purchase an album on Bandcamp or a track, then you can go in and play it unlimited. Otherwise, like with the new Peter Gabriel album, I tried to listen to it more than 3 times and it stopped me. It says, now it's time to open thy wallet. It literally says that, now time to open thy wallet.
Okay.
Right? And it's
that's pretty cool. Okay.
Which is fine. Okay, I'll listen to it 3 times, fine. I've decided whether I like it or not. That's okay. Yeah. And then you got to pay for it.
That's fair,
right? Which is fair enough, right? But I think, I guess you can do that on the app. Purchase it, you don't have to download it, but you can log into the app anytime. But then you got to make sure you're on Wi-Fi or you're chewing up your data or whatever, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Okay.
But that's coming from me. I don't like doing stuff on my phone that's even mildly productive. So.
Yeah. I'm much the same way. I have a lot of some. I have some productivity apps on my phone, but in truth, now that I'm not going out and doing meetings all the time because we just do meetings on Zoom, I don't really need that as much anymore. So
yeah, enough. How about you? I noticed you sent me some stuff on your SoundCloud last week. But is that anything else?
Yeah, mostly I've been uploading everything to SoundCloud. There's a couple of Parkdale Hooker songs. One was a tune that we never actually ever finished off, so I was able to finish that off, and that was kind of fun.
Nice.
Because I actually sort of added some things and rearranged it a little bit in a way which I was pretty happy with. SoundCloud has been pretty good. I'm on SoundCloud Pro, and I do that mostly because it allows me to replace mixes, which I do a lot. So once I made up, I go, maybe I want to change it, or I don't like it. So
so it's the same link, it's the same track.
Yeah. So you don't lose plays.
Mm-hmm.
So
what about like comments? Like, what if someone commented on and say, "Yeah, that was a sweet little sound effect you put in there," and then your updated mix, you take out the sound effect.
That's a good point. I should check that out. Because I actually, there was a couple of tunes that actually did have some comments. I should see if they're still there. I hope they are, because the track is different.
There's no way the system knows that the comment refers to a particular thing in the mix that maybe it does or doesn't. Like, who knows, right?
Yeah, I assume it's just done on a time base.
It's just time base, so whatever happens at 2:33 happens 2:33. That doesn't know.
Yeah, so hopefully, I don't know. That's a good question. I haven't really paid attention to it, but also, it gives you, I don't know, like 3 or 4 tracks you can master through SoundCloud, and that's kind of handy because it gives you. They have like 4 algorithms, and you choose an area of the track you want to preview, and you can sort of audition each version of the different algorithms, and then they have a different amount of how much change you get done. So it's actually pretty, like, for an online mastering thing. And I mean, I've had lots of stuff mastered by humans, and certainly, a great mastering engineer can just make your stuff absolutely sing. And I don't think this will make your stuff a million times better than it was, but it certainly can bring out the best and sort of polish up the rough edges. So, it's well worth it, for, if you can afford it. And I think you can start and stop it. You don't have to, it's not like you have to do it for a year. It's not like Adobe where you have to sign up for a year,
right?
Which is so stupid because lots of people would do it for 2 months, probably more people would do it for 2 months
Mm.
at a time and just go, oh, I don't need it now. But anyways,
Cool.
yeah. So I don't know. SoundCloud has been okay. I might do a Bandcamp 2 page because why not?
Yeah, why not? Doesn't cost anything. It's pretty easy.
Apart from time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I've started a new collaboration the last couple of weeks.
Ooh.
Which is kind of fun. So a few minutes ago, I was talking about Don Thompson, who was our tech for the podcast way back in the day. Before times when we needed a tech in the radio station down at Metropolitan Toronto University, formerly known as Ryerson. And so he actually reached out to me just after the new year, I think, and I think he's looking at just expanding his collaboration stuff, right, and just collaborate with a bunch of other people. So he invited me over to his studio one day. And the first time we met was a couple days ago with a completely blank slate, right? Like no preconceptions. Although when I walked in the door, he said this is something he's been thinking about lately. So we wrote this sort of an anti-consumerist protest song together, and it was really interesting because at the end of it, he said he never would have written a song like that had he not collaborated with me on it, and it was kind of interesting that I jumped on his piano, and the first thing that was interesting that within like a 4-hour session we had completed a song. Like it was. There was still some work we needed to do on it, but it was complete. Like it was done.
Nice.
Right? We recorded a quick demo of it, and it was like, yeah, this is a finished song. It was like pretty impressive for a quickie little session like that. We collaborated on the lyrics and everything. It was pretty cool. But when I sat down at the piano, I'm a piano player, so I started coming up with these chord progressions that he never would have done on the guitar. Right? I had this little vamp that I came up with, just a 2-chord vamp, A flat major, F major.
Okay.
Right? Which sounded really cool. I'm like, this is kind of neat. This is definitely our chorus. This is going to be our chorus, yes. at least for that, right? And then towards the end of the session, he grabbed his acoustic guitar. He wasn't using it. He was using it at the beginning, but then when I started going bonzo on the piano, he's like, okay, I'm just going to put away the guitar and just sing. Right? Just try and develop the melody and stuff like that. So I came with all those chords and everything. And then the most interesting thing was when he grabbed his acoustic and tried to play those chords that I'd written on the piano. And it was really fascinating to see him sort of work through different positions on the guitar neck to sort of make smooth transitions and things like that, so it wasn't too awkward and too jumpy and everything like that. And he had to try it a couple of different times. Is, oh, I put it here, and if I put it here, and I put it here, and it's like, oh, yeah, okay. And when he did that little vamp, the A flat to the F, he just did the bar chords, like F majors of bar chord anyway on the first fret, and then up to the fourth fret or fifth fret or whatever it is to get the A flat same shape. Right. So he was just sliding up and down with a little squeak of the guitar. And when you did that, I'm like, now it sounds like Nirvana. Right? When I was on a piano, it sounded like a Christmas song. He said it sounded like a Christmas song when I was doing it on the piano. And as soon as he started going to guitar, I'm like, now it sounds like Nirvana. This is really cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah. So really neat, right? So we're kind of at the point now. And then a couple of days later, like I came up with a little bridge, and I recorded a quickie little thing in 20 minutes and sent it to him. And he was like, "This is great." And then just the other day, he wanted to insert a pre-chorus, so I came up with the pre-chorus, but then he came up with the pre-chorus at the same time. We're probably gonna end up going with his. So it's kind of cool. Like we're just kind of the amazing thing too is that like even though we finished a pretty good draft of it the first time out, we're still pushing it. To try and make it better and to try and do some more interesting things with it. And because we're both producers, we're going to have a riot. Oh, yeah. Guitars and basses and drums and all the rest of the things and all that sort of stuff. We're just going to have a lot of fun with that, I think. So it'll be pretty cool.
Now, will you be collaborating like in your home studios? Like sort of... So how will you deal with that? Because he works in Logic and you work in Cakewalk?
I just send him a WAV file. We can send MIDI back and forth too. Like when I did the little bridge, I sent him the MIDI for my piano because I recorded MIDI at his place on his piano. She tried to insert it. It didn't quite work. So I'm like, forget it. Let's just play the whole thing through. And again, it's just easier.
Right.
Right. So it is a little clunky like that. It was really a tempo thing that was the difference.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't the fact that it was the MIDI was bad or anything like that. The MIDI was fine. It's just MIDI. Right. But you just send wave files back and forth. It's not a big deal. Like I've recorded drums at his place. He just exports the waves and drop them in.
I have done some collaboration with other people, and the other person happened to use the same DAW as I do, which is Cubase.
Yeah,
and he's on Windows and I'm on Mac, and it went fine between those two.
Yeah. As long as you got the tempo and everyone starts at 0 for their exporting, you're fine. Even if it's just the guitar solo, it doesn't start until measure 73. Export it from 0, leave 2.5 minutes of silence. It's okay. And that way, when the guitar solo starts, it starts in the right spot.
That's true. That's interesting. That's great.
Yeah,
it's going to be
it's been really fun.
What a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
That's great. It sounds like you've got some good chemistry there too.
Yeah. He's a swell guy, and we have. Yeah. I think we kind of have similar sensibility and similar sense of humor and similar, that which really helps. So we have some kind of view on things and whatever. It's
Wow.
It's always good to work with someone like that.
What style is this song in? Is it a...
Well, the way he suggested it, he says, since it's an anti-consumer song about Black Friday shopping and all that sort of stuff, we should have a 2-for-1 deal. Because my piano version, we're going to put sleigh bells on it, and it's become a Christmas song about anti-shopping. Yeah. And the other one is going to be a straight down the middle rocker, guitar, bass, and drums kind of
cool
rocker song. So, he's calling it what do you call it? I think the last version he sent me called the Dirty Friday edition, Dirty Friday version, and then the other one will be the Christmas Spirit.
That is so cool.
And we're actually gonna this weekend. There's a cool little open mic just down the street from me on Yonge Street there, Yonge and Eglinton, and called the Function Bar. And the guy there's a really cool. A young guy there who hosts the meetup, really friendly and really accommodating, and everyone just jumps on stage and joins other people. There's a really cool saxophone player that shows up there.
Oh, nice.
And my friend Neel from the meetup, he joined us for our 10-year anniversary episode back then. He seems to be there every week.
Oh, fantastic.
And he's got a whole cadre of people on a WhatsApp chat that share open mic information with each other and kind of
very nice
and stuff like that. So I met a few of the people that he's commandeered into his group and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. But anyway, the plan is Don and I are going to go there on Sunday and perform the piano version because they have a piano on stage and perform the piano version. Because usually I go there and just take my drumsticks and the host says, "Oh yeah, back me up on drums." I backed up Neel on drums for a couple of his songs. I'll probably back up Don if he wants to do a couple of songs there. His own.
Oh, brilliant!
It, like completely unheard. Like you never heard the song before, and just jump on and do it.
Oh, that's great. That's the best way of doing it too. You just go out and have some fun.
Yeah. Neel says he'll grab the bass, and he's actually a pretty good bassist. I've always known him to play guitar, but he's like, this is the best way to learn bass. Is just jump on and someone else's song, you don't know it, and just learn it on the spot and do it.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, I've become a better bass player just by showing up at open mics and playing bass.
That is fantastic.
It's amazing.
What great fun. Yeah, it's interesting because I've never heard of mostly about open mics that I have gone to. It's usually just one person comes up and they do the song, and the next person comes up and does the song. I haven't been at one where someone will join someone else, which I think is a really cool idea.
Yeah. It still is the thing. It's still that person is still the front person for whatever song, but sometimes they will invite people. Sometimes someone will just grab the tambourine and go, whatever.
Gotta love a tambourine.
It's all good. But yeah,
that's really cool.
It's been a great thing, and it's literally a 7-minute walk from my house, so it's no sweat for me to go there.
That's very nice. There is nothing that is 7 minutes away from me, apart from the post box.
No, the post box.
Yeah. But that's there's nothing 7 minutes away walk.
Cool.
Yeah, well, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of holiday songs,
Oh yes.
so as a little sneak preview, and coming right out of the holidays, the better time, no time like the present to announce this. So our songwriting challenge for 2024, folks, is going to be to write a holiday song.
Yes.
And it's only something that I've learned after joining this podcast and the meetup and stuff, that many holiday songs are written in the winter, in the spring, in the summer. Like none of them are written after the first week of December.
Yeah, most of them are written in the middle of summer.
Right. So we're gonna get an early start. I'll admit the Christmas songs that I've written over the past few years, I've always written them. I've started them at the earliest, maybe late November.
Yeah.
It's always a last minute thing for me. So this will be a fun thing for me to start thinking about one, 11 months in advance.
Well, this was a nice one because I initially thought that our songwriting challenge will be, I think, a different time signature than you've worked.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that was the thing.
Which is still a very worthy one to do.
It is, but I think it would be definitely a bigger challenge for those of us like myself who tend to not work in anything other than 4/4. Mm-hmm. Not because I don't love stuff that's not in 4/4. It's just I don't happen to think that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, mm-hmm. I've written a couple of holiday tunes, and
yeah. Cool.
It's I haven't written in one for a while, so that should be kind of fun.
And we'll certainly bring this up on the podcast. Maybe we'll do an episode or two early on in the year. Talking about holiday songs, or get one of our former guests on who's a pretty good holiday songwriter, and see what we can.
Yeah, and really try to figure out what makes a great and a classic holiday song. Like which ones do last and which ones don't come and go. Like Fairy Tale of New York is considered to be a standard, although it's not terribly Christmassy, but it's not Christmas unless I hear that song. So.
Right. Yeah.
That's going to be a fun challenge, I think.
Yeah. There'll be lots of things to discuss on that front, I think.
Yeah.
It should be interesting.
Indeed.
Okie dokie.
Well, I think is that about it, Neel?
I think that's about it. We've rambled on for long enough.
I think we've done more than enough.
That is all the time we have on Song Talk Radio. Special thanks to our calendars for letting us know that it's 2024. Thank you. Appreciate that. And we want to hear from you. So please send your comments, Facebook or Instagram to @SongTalkRadio. Send us an email, feedback@songtalk.ca. Also be sure to check out our YouTube channel for live performance videos and full episodes, and subscribe today to the Song Talk Radio podcast on your favorite podcast provider. You can find links to all the products, books, and web services and things we mentioned on the show on our resources page on the website. And please join us our next monthly Song Talk meetup, whether you're in Toronto for our in-person meetups or anywhere in the world for our online meetups. It's free to join on meetup.com and free to attend. Bring a song and a lyric sheet and get constructive feedback from other songwriters. Stop by songtalk.ca for the link over to the meetup. And FYI, everybody, all the meetups for 2024 are now posted on the meetup page, so go ahead and check them out and save the dates. You can follow me at neilmodi.com. You can follow Phil
at philemery.ca.
And be sure to stop by the website, songtalk.ca, to browse past shows and find out how you can be a guest. Thanks for tuning in, and keep on writing.
Woo! Happy 2024!
Happy New Year!
Uh-oh. Here comes the credit card bill. Awesome.
Cool. That's great.
Yeah, that the thing with Don sounds like it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's a cool little song. It's a clever little song.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing some Bay Shelter stuff too.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
So we
the
get some
recorded stuff.
Yeah, once we get that stuff down, and we're actually planning on recording. One thing that we're actually closest to finishing is our cover version of Rocket Man.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Which we had started. I laid down the drums for it like 3 months before the pandemic hit, maybe.
Yeah.
And so that kind of got squashed. And the only thing really left as far as recording is concerned is the vocals.
Right.
Everything else is there. The guitars are in there, the bass is in there, drums are in there.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Then yeah, you should get adding on top of that and do it, because it's
we're gonna do it like next week. We're already booked the day.
and when you release something, it'll make everyone want to do more. Because you'll have something, you know.
It's true.
Because otherwise, then it's just more sort of theoretical, and you know.
Mm-hmm. And we have so many songs we've written that we need to record. Yeah. Like it's just like it's getting too much now.
Yeah, and you know, like time goes by fast, man. You know, so definitely do that.
Did I ever tell you the story of when I went to Paris as a student?
No, I didn't.
You were talking about how you didn't speak French and Heather does and all that sort of stuff. So when I was going to study architecture in Rome, me and my buddy went to England. We went to London for a few days, and we went to Paris. We met up with another classmate of ours. And we actually stayed with, my mom had like second cousins, kids or something like that lived in suburban Paris, and they put us up. They had a couple of teenage daughters. The older one was like 17 years old. And the first day that we were there, she took us out to see Eiffel Tower and just kind of, drew her around and that sort of thing. So like my native language is Gujarati, right? So with this
more so than English.
What's that? Well, it is English, but I know a little bit of Gujarati enough to communicate on a basic level, right?
Yeah.
And and my cousin could speak Gujarati and French. My friend that I went to England with could only speak English. The friend that we met in Paris, she was fluent in English and in French. So I was the only one bouncing back and forth between 3 different languages. Because I know like 12 words of French. And so she and my other friend, they were carrying on in French the whole evening. Right? Because they're both fluent in French. They were way to go. I could speak to a reasonable extent with her in Gujarati, and my other friend was left out of loop entirely because all he could speak was English. And it's like, this is the weirdest thing. I was just like, I was getting my French and my Gujarati mixed up. Like words were overlapping and things. It was the most bizarre experience.
That's really cool.
So strange because she didn't know a lick of English.
Oh, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Grew up in France.
Yeah. JL's the woman next door. They'd never seen winter before, right?
Yeah.
Because they grew up in the Congo.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of ice here. And she came. I was icing the walk a couple of days ago, and she came out of her
salting
front door and no, just went flying because I think she was in a rush and she just didn't. She didn't realize it. Like she doesn't. Whereas, with us, we go, oh, it's ice, so you got to be careful. But she just went, poof. Yeah. So it's, I mean, the kids kind of think it's sort of fun, but it's going to be an interesting experience.
For sure.
Going from, because, I mean, our house is like super hot because it's, they're used to being in the Congo. And, it'll never be that hot.
No,
here.
And to go to Newfoundland, where it's supposed to get really cold here next week.
Oh yeah,
I think they're experiencing like record lows out in the prairies, Alberta and stuff like that. I heard on the news, so I'm sure that's coming this way.
Oh right,
by next week. It should be nasty.
Oh, well, good time to stay in and work on some music.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, man.
All right. Well, great to talk, and I will do this. And I guess we'll talk to you on
Tuesday.
All
right. Have a great weekend.
Have a good weekend. Bye.
Cheers. Have a good one. Bye.